Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Our show today is A Woman's Prerogative in partnership with E360 TV. Our topic today is just as helpful and as juicy as all of our other topics. When gratitude feels like gaslighting, the unspoken pain of year-end reflections. I'm absolutely thrilled and honoured to be representing Dr. Jacqueline as your host for USA Global TV and Radio's flagship show, A Woman's Prerogative. I'm a TV presenter and I'm the resident therapist for USA Global TV and Radio. A very warm welcome to all of our loyal viewers and friends at E360 TV. And hello to all of our friends on our usual social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X. I'm joined today by our full-time panelist, none other than the wonderful Reverend Lydia Fougeres. She comes all the way from Canada. She is a TV presenter in her own right on the channel, and she has a show all in French. And I feel very proud of the fact that she's managed to achieve that in her very short time of being on the platform. She is an author of bilingual self-help books, and she's also a registered nurse. She's a holistic nurse and an intuitive and spiritual healer. She also invented something called Miracle Mist, which is patent pending, and I'm sure she'll share a little bit more about that when she comes on. She is also an advocate for free rights. Please welcome our wonderful full-time panelist, Reverend Lydia Fougeres.
Hello.
Hello, and very much a warm welcome. So, Reverend Fougeres, I didn't want to say anything before you appeared, but this is a very special show, isn't it?
Yes, it is a very special show. Very, very. A bit difficult. We admit it is a little bit difficult, but we will pull through it, and that it is what it is.
And it is important to share with our viewers, because we're both feeling a bit emotional right now, and it's important to share that we are here standing tall or sitting tall and we're going to deliver an amazing conversation and exploration. But today marks my very last A Woman's Prerogative episode on the platform as hosting this show. And next year, we're taking a break next year. Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Jacqueline, that's very kind of you. And next year, we will be still running, well, USA Global TV and Radio will still be running A Woman's Prerogative. We take a break next week for holidays, and then it'll be back on the 5th of January. That's Monday, the 5th of January. And none other than our visionary and our founder and mystical, amazing, whizzy effect person behind the scenes will be hosting the show. She's actually lent me the baton to host this show, and I felt it was important to say that because I feel very honoured that Dr. Jacqueline trusted me to host this show, and I've sort of made it very much my own. Now, I'll be leaving the platform, and so Reverend Lydia will be back with our wonderful and visionary, missionary, amazing leader and mentor, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. So they will both be back next year. So please, Lydia, introduce yourself and tell our viewers, especially the ones that are here for the first time, a little bit about what you do.
Well, I am a reverend in metaphysics, so I do celebrate weddings. I am an author. I wrote the books 111 Reflection for Thy Earth Odyssey, which are self-reflection books. They are in English and French on Amazon and Ingram Spark. I am a spiritual teacher who works on personal transformation, introspection, mindfulness, and compassionate self-discovery. I invite my readers to engage in life journey, curiosity, clarity, and sense of sacred connection. I invented the miracle myth, which is actually an a myth that actually elevates vibrations, chases ghosts, and low entities. Um, how to make it was actually given to me, the ingredients were given to me by the divine source, because I am in connection with the divine source ever since birth. I thought everyone was like that, actually. I build programs out of my books and for my readers, and ask them to participate in their spiritual journey with my books. I am also the country manager for Canada and French country for USA Global TV and radio. So if you want to have your own show or host your own show or be a guest, you actually can communicate with me, and I will make it happen that you meet with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, our founder and producer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Lydia. And a very warm welcome to you for this very special and prestigious show. This is the last show of the year, which is why the topic is so relevant. So before I get into the topic, you see I'm ready to launch into the topic and I forgot to introduce myself. I'm so excited for this topic, for people that will need this to hear this conversation. I'm Caroline Heward and I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert. I've been on the channel for 4.5 years now, since the 7th of July 2021. I've been a TV presenter and I've hosted my own shows on the channel, and I also have my own Talking Heads episode once a month now. It was in different variations of timings during the years, but it's once a month at the moment. And thank you, Dr. Jacqueline, behind the scenes, for producing the Wizzy effects. Thank you very much. And I also one of 5 Talking Heads experts, and I had a look at how long I've been doing the Talking Heads episodes, and it's been since August 2021, so quite a long time. I didn't realize how long I've been doing them. And I also am a speaker. I'm an author, co-author of Dr. Jacqueline's book, her second bestseller on Amazon, Adversity to Awesome. I actually delivered 1 chapter within the book, and there are 10 chapters. And that is an extraordinary and special read for people that want hope and inspiration about overcoming adversity. Also, I do lunch and learn meetings, both online and face-to-face. And I do chakra readings. I've got a special offer on at the moment. Please do check out my link, and you can get a 15-minute reading for £25 and an hour reading for £65. So please do check those out. And thank you very much, everybody. I want to get into the topic. So Reverend Lydia, please come back and let's get into this really exciting and yet challenging topic for people. We have come to the end of the year, and it is no surprise. It is now the 22nd, and it feels like there's only a short time, and yet it's a long time for many people to contemplate this next few weeks. There's a lot of noise in the media and in TV programs and all through social media about gratitude and celebration. There are many people celebrating our times right now, and there are many people that are talking about new beginnings. But for many people, this time of year doesn't feel hopeful. It feels heavy. And their reflection on the year is a reflection of regret. They're in a reflection of self-judgment and grief for what didn't happen in their lives, and also an anxiety of what may never change. But when you are told you should feel grateful while you are hurting, gratitude can feel like gaslighting. And tonight, or this afternoon in Canada, we will be exploring creating space for emotional truth, especially for those feeling unseen, stuck, and quietly struggling. This conversation will be filled with compassion, honesty, and parts of being a human rarely given permission to talk about. So I'm going to begin with one of those difficult questions, and something that we don't really consider or think about, and yet I want us both to go deep into our hearts to help people that are struggling right now, and there are many right now. They're struggling with what to do next and how to navigate through this difficult time. Why do you think people feel such pressure to be grateful and hopeful at the end of the year, and when it's not their reality?
Have you seen Facebook? Have you seen Instagram? If you post something negative, everyone just like they swipe you up. So the thing is that, people feel guilty if they have feelings of not being grateful. So the problem is that when someone does not feel grateful, they are judged. So others will tell them, oh, you're not grateful. You have a house, you have this, you have that. But they do not know how people suffer inside. Even if you have a house, even if you have a husband, even if you have those things, you have other problems. So the thing is that everyone has problems, and we do not learn necessarily the best way from the lesson. So that is what happens. Actually, people think you have to be grateful, but sometimes you cannot feel grateful because you do not feel that feeling of I accomplished something from what happened.
I'm nodding here in agreement, in quiet, heartfelt agreement, Reverend Lydia, because you're absolutely right. And there are some people that struggle with this time of year because it can bring up old wounds. It can bring up the reality of what their lives are rather than what they wanted it to be. And you never know, as you quite rightly said, that you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. It might all look very wonderful on the outside, but you don't know what's quietly going on inside and how they are suffering. And there are many people that have diagnosis, terminal illness. There are many people that have been sent home to essentially die because there isn't anything that anybody can do for them. There is a lot of people on borrowed time, a lot of people in sickness, and there are people that are struggling in relationships that are mentally, physically abusive. And so it's that part of where I would like to address, because when everybody else is in celebration, that quiet misunderstanding of everybody is happy right now is what's going on behind closed doors of some homes. And all is not well in some homes because there are family dynamics that can be challenging. I don't know many families that don't have challenging family dynamics and difficulties when they all come together. We're supposed to be happy at these times. So how do you distinguish between authentic gratitude and gratitude used to suppress pain or discomfort? Because these people that are struggling are saying they're grateful, but then they're not feeling it because they're saying what they think they need to say or they are expected to say. What are your thoughts about that, Reverend Lydia? Because you bring up an interesting aspect about social media bats you down?
Well, what they do is that they say they are happy and grateful because that is the way people want to hear. They do not want to hear, I am unhappy, I am ungrateful, I am this, I am that. It is like someone that asks you, how are you? When do you say, I'm not well? It is it is rare that actually you want to say I am not well because they do not bother. They want to hear I am well and go on with their lives. It's a polite way of saying hello, how are you? And the answer has to be I am fine because they do not want to hear your story or why you're not well. It is exactly why people make believe that they are in this Hallmark movie, because in Canada we make the Hallmark movies in Ontario. So the thing is that they say, "Oh, I have a picture life, picture movie life." But the thing is that it is not like that. They are scared of admitting that their life is not perfect because no one cares. They want to move on. They scroll.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. Some very wise and incredible insights there. I want to pick up on something you said about how are you? And it sounds like the Canadians are quite like the British, because that is a very common phrase, how are you? And you're absolutely right, because we do say, it's a Britishism, as soon as somebody, it's like a knee-jerk reaction, somebody says, how are you? You have to be saying, I'm fine, or I'm great. If you've done any personal self-development training, most people come out with, I'm excellent, I'm amazing. but it's this, and even my cousins, my nephews and nieces, they say I'm fine. And I've been educating them to say, no, you're not fine, you're great, you're feeling amazing. Don't say fine, because that doesn't say anything. That's a knee jerk. And they always laugh at me and joke with me because I tell them not to say I'm fine, to say something else, because it tells me they're not fine. And it is a knee jerk reaction. I'm fine. And we're not. And do we really want to know how the other person is feeling? I wonder if this is just a politeness that has gone beyond really being considered and compassionate by saying, how are you? And if somebody doesn't tell me, I usually ask them 3 times. By the time I said it the 3rd time, I say, how are you? And then they just break down in floods of tears and they tell me, because it is quite a staunch way to live, to just knee-jerk say, I'm fine. So I really do value bringing up that point. And I also want to make reference to the fact that some people's pain, it doesn't need reframing. It needs witnessing. We need to witness and be there for them to witness their pain, without feeling that we have to get into it, and without feeling that we have to fix it or do something with that pain. To be coherent in the fact that we are witnessing that they are in pain. What are your thoughts about that, Reverend Lydia?
Well, the thing is that, yes, we should witness the pain of someone. We do not have to live their pain, but we have to at least listen to them. I am a person that I will ask, how are you? I really want to know for real how you are. So I do not say, how are you to everyone, because I might not have time. But when I say, how are you to someone, I pause and I am there to listen, because I really want to know how they are. This is the way I am. It is not maybe the way of everyone, but this is the way I am. How are you for real? I asked that question for real.
I love that. And that's a great place to go over to our short commercial break. Thank you very much, Reverend Lydia. And we will be back. If you're watching on the live or the replay, please come back because we have more interesting conversation. And we're going to look, when we come back after the break, at what happens spiritually and psychologically when people feel they must deny their suffering in order to be good, faithful, or positive. See you in a few moments, and just over to our short commercial break. Thank you very much, Reverend Lydia, and we look forward to seeing you very shortly. Hello and welcome back to A Woman's Prerogative, where we are exploring when gratitude feels like gaslighting, the unspoken pain of year-end reflection. We're very happy to welcome you back, whether you're here on the live or the replay. Our show today is brought to you in association and in partnership with E360 TV. I left Reverend Lydia with an interesting question just before the break. If you've missed the first part before the commercial break, please do catch up on that first part because it's an interesting conversation about how people are not always happy and are struggling at this time of year. So Reverend Lydia, welcome back to our show after the commercial break. What happens spiritually or psychologically when people feel they must deny their suffering in order to be good or faithful or positive? In your role as a reverend, how do you challenge or face this challenge with your clients?
Well, first of all, they lower their vibration because they are not true to themselves. And for us that actually work with for us that actually work with chakras, the chakras become unbalanced. So we know things are not well because they are lying, they are denying their true feeling. This is this is not what is supposed to happen. We are not supposed to deny our feelings. We are supposed to be honest. But the thing is that we have to be honest to ourselves to start with. So how can we actually be a person that lives in honesty if we lie to everyone around us saying, I am fine, I am successful, I am this, I am that, when actually things don't go well in our life in any sphere? So we have to stop denying that things are not well.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. I'd like to share something that I watched this morning in the wee hours. I woke up at some ridiculous o'clock. I tend to do that. I must be on American time. And I happened across a video on YouTube about what's going on with a person that retains a woman that retains her youthfulness. And I'm one of those people that have retained my youthfulness. I seem to be de-aging as I'm getting older, which I'm just quite really happy about, to be honest with you. But what it said is exactly what you are talking about, Reverend Lydia, that the person that is able to stay youthful is a person that is embracing challenges and embracing the emotion and moving through the emotion and transforming it so that they turn it into wisdom and learnings, and they evolve spiritually as a person, and it stops the aging process. I found that absolutely incredible, and it went through quite a few different insights in terms of how a woman can retain her youthfulness. What are your thoughts about that, Reverend Lydia?
Well, I think it is absolutely true because, I have had a lot of things happen to me in my life. So I do not want people to think that, oh, the next day I was fine and I was saying, thank you for the lesson on life. I welcome, I have gratitude for what happened to me. This is not what happens. It takes time. It absolutely takes time. And the gratitude process actually takes weeks, sometimes years to come. So when something horrible happens to someone, we cannot have gratitude and wisdom coming immediately. In life, life is a lesson. So the thing is that it is, and you are the one doing your homework. So you don't give your homework the next day to your teacher. So the higher power, you know, knows how to wait for you to be ready to give the homework from the lesson.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. Some really interesting insights there. And it made me think of something else that I heard in the video about the person that keeps their youth or retains their youthful looks is somebody that allows themselves to work through their shadow, the things that come up that many people will deny, and the challenges that they say, that's not me, that's not how I am. And they're literally working spiritually on the shadow work to complete themselves so that they are one rather than in parts. I found it really insightful, and it endorses what you've just shared there. What I also want to share is that hope doesn't always look like excitement. Sometimes it looks like honesty, that the person's being honest. And I feel that that's important, to have an honest conversation without bringing everybody down, but to say what's not okay, so that once it's out and once it's been shared, then it's not bubbling around, and it will free the person from trying to block it down or lock it down to cover up and not say anything. So which moves me on to regrets over time and meaning. As people age, they become much more aware of the passing of time and opportunities lost. How do you sit with people who are carrying regret, not just for what they did, but also for what they didn't become? What are your thoughts on that, Reverend Lydia?
That is a one by one case. The thing is that we cannot have a general idea about a person that has regret. We have to study what the person says. We have to know the person. We have to listen to the person, because every case is different. And all is about what they regret also. It is the gravity of the regret also. So some people tell me, well, actually, a friend of mine is telling me lately, she lost her husband 3 months ago, And she was saying, I regret so much not telling him more often how much I loved him. She was with him for 28 years. And I am saying, you were actually showing him every single day that you loved him. So you do not have to say, I love you every single day. You were demonstrative. So regret is in many forms, but actually there are many responses to regrets, depending on the case.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia, and thank you for sharing that that extremely difficult example, because it is something that when somebody is close to the end of their lives, and I've also read some articles about people that are at the end, towards the end of their lives, and they don't regret the things that we think they regret. They start to talk about, they regret not spending more time with the family. They regret not spending more time, quality time with their siblings or their parents or their loved ones, and they regret not doing some of those homely things. And it's not about the big adventure holidays, and it's not about, you know, sort of buying the latest gadget or the latest thing, whizzy jig that, you know, is on the market, and the latest phone with like sort of the big technology and the big sound system. It's much smaller than that. It's much simpler than that, and it's much more closer to home than what we spend our money on. Because when you go inside, when you go internally, it's not what's outside of you, it's what's inside of you. And so you raise some very wise contradictions there as to what we think we're supposed to be doing with our lives versus when we come to our end of our lives, what we really feel. It's about the love, the compassion, the spending time with loved ones, and the being there for whoever it is that's around us. The life that we thought we'd be living now sometimes is different, especially when it comes to somebody's end of life. So what do people realize that matters when life has gone not the way that they hoped? And the meaning isn't found in pretending that things were fine. The meaning is in living and being in what feels right for them in that moment. And it's not about the gadgets, and it's not about the expensive holidays. It's about the being connected and being in a place of kindness and compassion and in our heart space. So, Reverend Lydia, how do we hold faith and meaning or spirituality when prayers go unanswered and when life feels disappointing rather than purposeful?
Well, sometimes an unanswered prayer is an answered prayer, actually. So we think we are supposed to, we want something so bad, but actually it is not for us. So answered prayers are sometimes unanswered prayers. We have to think about that. And the fact is that we have to content ourselves with what happens, because we actually go through so many things. We go through so many things that actually there is questions all the time. We always question our life. We will always question our life. We will always be looking for a dream, always be looking for something that is to come, or have something that did not go well. It is part of life. So we might have gratitude for what we have, but we are allowed to be ungrateful. We are really allowed to be ungrateful for something that happened. And maybe we do not understand right now what is happening and why we should be grateful. But in the long run, we will be grateful because we will understand. But do not be so hard on yourself if you feel ungrateful for something that happens and that you do not understand yet. The lesson will come and you will understand, and then you will be able to be grateful. Only then, after you have time to think about it.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. And you're absolutely right in saying that the gratitude and the wisdom for the situation and the challenge that you're in doesn't happen immediately. I tend to not share when I'm in challenge publicly. And then when it's transformed and it's changed and I'm through it, I share it. And that's just something that I've always done because I take my own counsel and I'm quite a quiet person when there's challenge. And I always feel that in that quiet time that I allow myself the permission to process without being judged, without feeling I have to be something to someone else. And it helps because when you do share, if there are difficulties, sometimes people don't know how to respond, or they're trying to fix something that you don't have any responsibility or control to fix. So in closing, because we are at the end of our show, hasn't it gone quickly? Always does, doesn't it, when we get into our juicy topics? If someone is listening to this show, whether it's now on the live or the replay or in months of time, and they feel stuck, tired, or disillusioned, what do you think they need most in terms of permission to feel right now?
They need to know that not being grateful does not make them guilty. They need to know that they are allowed to suffer, they are allowed to hurt. And when it hurts, when they suffer, actually, they are in the process of healing, and healing takes time. That
Thank you,
is the
Reverend
way.
Lydia. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. Thank you, Reverend Lydia. What I do want to
No, you
share
did not.
on top of that is if you are angry and you are angry and lashing out, remember, if you're holding the anger and lashing out at every opportunity, it's like holding a hot coal of fire, that it burns you and it doesn't hurt the other person, it hurts you more. And if you are really angry, and this is something that many people experience, especially if they're suffering and they're seeing other people having fun, if they are angry, it actually makes more cortisol and more stress hormones, and so they will suffer more. And that's something that is really, it's an interesting aspect to consider when you are feeling angry or in a lot of pain, that the more angry that you are, the more cortisol and the more pain is created. Reverend Lydia, thank you so much for an engaging and just a really insightful, interesting conversation here, because this is the time that most people are supposed to be happy, and yet we've been talking about things that most people won't be happy about, and it's going on even though they don't say anything. So do you have any final last thoughts before we close our show and you share your contact details and the best way to reach you?
Well, I have a thought. I am sad because you are leaving, and I am allowed to say that I am sad because you are leaving. I know it is for your best, but at the same time, I am guilty of being selfish enough to know that I would have loved for you to continue. So, yes, I have that feeling, and I want people to know how wonderful it was to work with you, because you are an amazing person, and I love you very much, Caroline. So this is that comes from the heart, and I want people to know that you and I share a bond that is very special. So if people want to reach me, I am at 1-514-582-6882. I can be reached as country manager for Canada and French countries for USA Global TV and Radio. So if they want to have their own show or if they want to be a guest. I also am a spiritual teacher, so they can reach me at that phone number, 1-514-582-6882. And I will see you all next year on A Woman's Prerogative. And thank you for this wonderful year, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Lydia. I had to compose myself there. I'm feeling a bit tearfully, emotionally joyful at the same time. Thank you so much for your real kind words and sincere message. I feel the same. And I feel sad, and at the same time, as one door closes, I do believe another door opens, and I don't know what that door is yet. I feel that it's important to explore other opportunities to reach more people and to share the legacy. And I too have really enjoyed our time together. We have evolved incredibly as a duo, a celebrated duo on the platform, and I really feel that we've had some incredibly powerful, engaging conversations that will help many. So thank you very much, Reverend Lydia. I do feel the same. It's like sort of saddened, and at the same time, I'm open now for other opportunities to see where I can spread my wings and help more people in other communities. It is my final goodbye after 4.5 years. My shows have existed for people who may never walk into a therapy room, who deserve understanding, compassion, and dignity. This platform has been a place where we've spoken about what it actually means to be human, not just about life working, but when it doesn't work. And as I step away, I want to say this really clearly. If this year has been hard, if you've not been where you thought you would be, if gratitude feels out of your reach, where there is nothing wrong with you, you don't need to force hope, you don't need to rush healing, and you don't need to justify your pain. The bravest thing that you can do is be honest about where you are and meet yourself there with compassion, with kindness, and with love. Thank you very much. It's been my absolute pleasure to be a host for A Woman's Prerogative, and it's been an absolute pleasure and a real rare, humble experience to be working with Reverend Lydia. I wish you a easy and peaceful time in this festive period. Thank you for allowing these conversations to exist. This isn't an ending, it's an honouring. You can reach me on No More Stress at live.co.uk or call if you're international +44. If you're local, 07523 120 189. You can follow me and connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm still here for you. Reach out. I'm always going to be here. And if you need me, all you have to do is reach out, because I am here to help. I wish to say a final thank you to Reverend Lydia for being an amazing panelist and almost a co-host, really, and for Dr. Jacqueline for trusting me with the baton to host A Woman's Prerogative. And I very gracefully and humbly pass the baton back to Dr. Jacqueline so that she will be hosting the next show here live on USA Global TV and Radio on the 5th of January, which will be Eastern Time, 2 p.m. and Western Time, Greenwich Mean Time, 7 p.m. In the meantime, I wish you a pleasant, peaceful, and energizing time over the festive period. Be safe, be peaceful, and remember, compassion first. Thank you very much to everyone if you're here on the live or the replay. And I look forward to seeing what happens in 2026. Thank you very much, everybody, for being part of my journey and part of my legacy. I feel very humbled and very honoured to have served you in this way on this platform. Thank you. And I'm now signing out for my final time on USA Global TV and Radio. Thank you to you all. And over now to our sponsors.
Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now.
Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. Kerbeck also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacqueline.com or usaglobaltv.com. Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life, one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck is the listening mentor. Start your journey today.
Which of these 5 statements sounds mostly like you? 1. I often wake up in the middle of the night worrying about my future. 2. I'm angry or resentful towards a specific person. 3. I have anxious, obsessive, compulsive thoughts throughout the day. 4. I have an addiction like smoking, drinking, shopping, sugar, or social media. And 5, I feel that I'm wasting away my life. Hello, I'm Dr. Alkistis Agio, and for over 25 years, I've been coaching and training people from all over the world to transform their fears, insecurities, anxiety, and anger into mental and emotional freedom. I'm confident that my simple 3-step method based on Greek philosophy can help you to transform into the joyful, confident, free human being that you deserve to be. I want to invite you to join my weekly online coaching group to finally get the results that you want. Look, you've tried it alone so far and you've had some okay results, but let's face it, you're still feeling stuck right now, spinning your wheels. Einstein said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Now, unless you realize this as a fact, that you are a prisoner of your own mind. You can't move forward. I'm here to support you, as well as the whole community that we are co-creating. Stop feeling stuck. Stop feeling depressed. You don't have to do it alone, and alone isn't working anyway. Sign up today, and I'll meet you on the inside of our amazing weekly group call. I guarantee that you'll make progress from the very first session.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.